So we're going to read the fourth commandment and see what God has to say to us. So here's the fourth commandment, Exodus 20, chapter 8, verses 8 through 11, chapter 20. It says, remember the Sabbath. Now the Sabbath is like Sunday, okay? This is considered the Sabbath. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your manservant or maidservant, nor your animals, nor the alien living within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. So, what is God telling us? Yeah, that there's aliens in our backyard, yes. Yeah. So what is God sharing here with all of this? I remember growing up with strict laws on this, okay? I grew up as a Catholic, but I know a lot of you did. We grew up on a farm, and our whole little town there, we lived 4 miles out of town, but the whole town shut down on Sunday. There were no stores open. There were no gas stations open. There were no liquor stores open. There were no bars open. Everything shut down on Sunday. So even those that were not Christians shut their business down on Sundays. We didn't work. I can remember a lot of times the field was ready to be taken off, harvest, and it was rain in the forecast, but you couldn't work on Sunday, even though it was scheduled for rain the next day. So my dad would go talk to the priest to get his permission to take the crop off on Sunday. You just didn't do those kind of things. I was going to ask Dave. Dave, you grew up with probably strict rules too. What was it like for you growing up?
Same thing. I mean, it was, all my friends would go out and play on Sundays, and I was church.
And you went to church in the morning and went back at night too. Yeah. So is that what this is saying to us? Sure seems that way. Sure seems that that's what it's all about. So I'm going to sing a song about going to church. I looked it up on YouTube. Everybody will know this song because it's from 1957. I'm watching it and it showed 1957. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I getting old? Because I remembered that song so well. I grew up with Elvis Presley. Who even knows who Elvis Presley is? A lot of you don't even know. You do. We got a hand that went up over there. All right. Well, Elvis Presley was one of a kind in his time. And he sang a song. And I'm like, Frank, if you could just turn the lights down. It was called Crying in the Chapel. So I'd like to sing this song for you. You saw me crying in the chapel. The tears I shed were tears of joy. I know the meaning of contentment. Now I'm happy with the Lord. Just a plain and simple chapel where humble people go to pray. I pray the Lord that I'll grow stronger as I live from day to day. I've searched and I've searched, but I couldn't find no way on earth to gain peace of mind. Now I'm happy in the chapel where people are of one accord. Yes, who gathered in the chapel just to sing and praise the Lord. You'll search and you'll search, but you'll never find no way on earth to gain peace of mind. Take your troubles to the chapel, get down on your knees and pray, and your burdens will be lighter, and you'll surely find a way. Thank you. Now even Elvis needed to do on Sunday. Gotta go to church, go to the chapel. Is that what God is telling us? Is that what he's telling us when he tells us, well, remember what we said. Jesus is the fulfillment of the law. So to understand what the commandment is saying, we need to look at what Jesus says about the commandment. We've done that in every one of them so far now. And when we look at the New Testament with Jesus, it gives a whole new meaning to these commandments. It's not like the commandment is not there anymore, it's still there. But he's the fulfillment of the commandment. So let's take a look at what Jesus says, because you could be shocked at some of this now, okay? Let's look at Matthew 12, 1 through 2. This is Jesus and his disciples. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick some heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath. So here it is, the Sabbath Sunday, and Jesus is breaking the Sabbath. I mean, the Pharisees were the leaders of the church. They were the leaders of the church, okay? So they're looking at Jesus saying, it's a Sabbath. You're not supposed to pick grain. Remember I said we couldn't harvest grain on Sunday. You just couldn't do it. Now, it was stricter back then. It was really strict. And here's Jesus and his disciples breaking the Sabbath. It's like, what the heck is Jesus teaching us? Look at John chapter 5, verse 8 through 11. Jesus heals the man. So then Jesus said to the man, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. At once the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. The day in which this took place was a Sabbath. And so the Jews said to the man who had been healed, it is the Sabbath. The law forbids you to carry your mat. But he replied, the man who made me well said to me, pick up your mat and walk. They were not allowed to do some work like that. So here's a Jew saying, you can't carry your mat. And he's like, hey, the man who just healed me told me to pick it up and carry it. I'm going to carry it. What is Jesus trying to tell us here? You just break the Sabbath. You just break the commandments. That's what they're there for, to break them. Is that what he's trying to tell us? Look at John chapter 7, verse 23, because he did all kinds of healings on the Sabbath. It says, now if a child can be circumcised on the Sabbath so that the law of Moses may not be broken, why are you angry with me for healing the whole man on the Sabbath? They were down and it's a Sabbath. You can't be healing people on the Sabbath. But John 9, 13 through 16. They brought to the Pharisees a man who had been blind. Now the day in which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was a Sabbath. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. He put mud in my eyes, the man replied, I washed and now I see. Some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath. Wow. Wow. What is Jesus telling us? What is Jesus telling us here? Okay? He's got a powerful message for you this morning. Powerful message for you this morning, okay? Because it's an important commandment. It's an important commandment, but we have to look at it through Jesus' eyes. Okay? We have to look at everything through Jesus' eyes. So let's just look first at Matthew 12, verse 8. This is what Jesus said. For the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. Remember when his friend John died, and he asked his sister that you'll see him again? She said, I know I will at the resurrection of the last day. What did Jesus say to her? I'm the resurrection. Jesus said, I'm the resurrection. You want to be raised from the dead one day? Is that what you want? You want to be raised from the dead one day? Then you have to look at Jesus. And only through Jesus. What does Jesus say here? I'm the Sabbath. I'm the Sabbath. Not these laws. I'm the Sabbath. You want to obey the Sabbath? Look at Jesus. Is what he's saying. Look at Jesus. He is the Sabbath. So what does Jesus say? Matthew 12, verse 7. If you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. I'm not looking for sacrifice. I'm not looking for you to go, oh, it's Sunday, we got to go to church. Oh, we got to go to church tonight, too. It's like, oh, we can't even go buy a beer today. The liquor stores are closed. It's like, Jesus said, I don't want a bunch of rules. I don't want a bunch of rules. I don't want you obeying rules. I want you to have mercy. That's what I want. What's the Sabbath for? Mercy. What is mercy? What is mercy? Here's the greatest definition of mercy. 2 words. Genuine concern. That's mercy. Genuine concern. Not someone in the hospital you go, oh yeah, I gotta go visit her. That's not genuine. That's not genuine. Mercy is genuine concern, where you really care about somebody. That's what Jesus said, that's what I want. That's what keeping the Sabbath is all about. When you have genuine concern for your fellow Christians. That's what I desire. Let's look at James chapter 2, verse 6. I've taught on this before. Remember faith without deeds? If one of you says to him, somebody is in need, one of you says to him, I wish you well, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about his physical needs, what good is that? If someone's in need and you say, I'll pray for you, what good is that? In the same way, faith by itself, if it's not accompanied by action, is dead. Faith by itself, if it's not accompanied by mercy, genuine concern, is dead. I go to church on Sunday because I have faith. But do you have genuine concern for those in this church that are hurting? That's what Jesus wants. Jesus doesn't just want you here. He doesn't just want you here. He wants you to care about those that have a need. That's what Jesus is all about, is that. You should be as excited as Frank is about Devin sitting in the front row this morning. You should be as excited as he is about Devin sitting there. That's genuine concern about someone that hasn't met Jesus yet. Not just here. Not just here. It should be. Now, don't do it because I say that if we had greeting right now, that you would all rush over to Devin, and Devin would be like, oh my God, what's going on here? Because you are so genuinely excited about him being here. That's what Sabbath is that. Look, I've shared this verse I don't know how many times. You're going to see it again. It applies so much. 1 John chapter 3, verse 17. If anyone has material possessions, if anyone has time, if anyone has talents, and sees his brother or sister in need but has no pity on him, her, how can the love of God be in you? When you see someone that has concerns and you don't have genuine concern for them, how can the love of God be in you? You have to care. We have to care. What mercy is, genuine concern is what it is. Now, Dave taught a lesson last week, and I just want you to know this, Dave. You shared something that was the most profound thing that I have ever heard in your message Sunday. You probably don't have a clue what it is. Yeah, it takes something. That's what Holy Spirit was speaking through you, okay? Here's what it was. And boy, there isn't anybody not guilty of this. You shared from 1 Corinthians that as Christians, we're to judge fellow Christians. We're not to judge those that don't know the Lord. Jesus says, I'll judge them. You don't judge them. They don't know any better. But fellow Christians should know better, so you are to judge your fellow Christians that are doing wrong. But you shared something on that. You said, don't judge them unless you're first willing to help them. In other words, don't come to me or don't come to anybody making a judgment on someone unless you are wanting to help that person to change. That's what it means. Oh my gosh, I don't even have to raise your hands. How many of you have judged people without caring about whether they changed or not? My hand's up. We just judge for the sake of judging. And so we could look at that verse and go, well, Jesus, the Bible says we're supposed to judge. So we do it. But we really don't care. We really don't genuinely care about the person enough to invest time into that person. But that's what this is all about, people. That's what it's all about. When you see someone in need, there should be genuine concern for that person. Not just judgment. Genuine concern. I'll give you some examples. I saw something on Facebook. Every so often, a saying comes up that just is kind of like profound, deep. Here's one. You will find everything you're looking for in life. Hear that? You will find everything you're looking for in life when you learn how to help others find what they're looking for in life. Isn't that deep? You will find everything you're looking for in life. But aren't we all looking for something in life? We are all looking for something in life. You will find it when you help others find what they're looking for in life. In other words, it's other people. It's not just you. It's genuine concern for other people. That's what Christianity is all about. That's what Jesus is all about. And Jesus is the Sabbath. So Jesus said, I don't want you just obeying a bunch of rules. I want you to have mercy, genuine concern. Now, let's talk about this. How many of you know people that are making bad choices in life? Well, come on, raise your hand. How many of you know people in this church that are making bad choices in life? How many of you have made judgment on them? How many of you have helped them? Okay, cool. Because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. People that have made that. Some of you that have learned how to make good choices in life, those people need you to help them to make a good choice in life. I'll give you an example. I don't want to name a name, but there's a person in our church that's made some really bad decisions. Really bad decisions. And I'm going to meet with that person Wednesday night after the youth group. And I have made judgment on them. I made judgment on them. Here's my judgment. Can't pay their rent, so I know as soon as I get in the door, they're going to want me to pay the rent for them. And that's the attitude I went in with. So I went in there kind of like, how am I going to get out of this one? Didn't even ask for money. Didn't even ask for money. What they asked for? Wisdom. What should I do? What should I do? Jim, I need some advice from you. I got to make the right decision this time. I made some really bad decisions in my life. I want to make sure I make a good decision this time. What should I do? Oh, I was convicted. I was totally convicted. I had made a judgment before I even went there. Just like you shared last week about making judgments on people, seeing the guy walking out with a drunk woman out of the, not even realizing it was his sister. I heard the message and did the same darn thing that week. So that it just hit me like Nick, one of Nick's punches. I don't know what they feel like, but I can only imagine. It's kind of like, Jim, where's your mercy? Where's your mercy? Now, fine, I gave her my time, but it was more of obligation. It was more of obligation than genuine concern. We all have to learn how to do this. This is what Jesus wants. This is what Jesus wants, is this. How many of you have seen people that dress provocative or wild? 13 rings in their face. 7 on other parts of their body that you can't see.
Yeah.
Revealing dresses. What do those people say? You know what they're saying? Will somebody notice me, please? Will somebody notice me, please? That's all they're saying. That's all they're saying. And negative attention is better than no attention at all. So they're just saying, will you look at me, please? Will you look at me? So those of us that got our act together, would you look at them? Would you please look at them? Because they need you. They need you to have genuine concern for them. That's what they need. That's what Jesus is all about. Is that. It's that. How many people that are still partying? Yeah, don't raise your hands. Might be you. People that are still out there partying. The only way they know how to have a good time is to go up there and drink and get drunk or get high. And they're Christians. And they're Christians. It's so easy to judge. It's so easy to judge. But how about this? How about those of you that have learned to have a good time without doing that, invite them with you. To show them how to have a good time without doing that. I hate that. Well, I know you guys are, when you go to that comedy club, you don't get drunk and wild, right? But you have a good time. But you have a good time. Invite one of those people with you, so that they can learn how to have a good time without getting drunk or high. See, that's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. That's what mercy, genuine concern is. Jesus doesn't want you to obey a bunch of rules. He wants you to have mercy. Genuine concern. Micah 6:8. How many of you grew up with Calvary Chapel's Maranatha? What am I showing my age? Have anybody heard of Maranatha? It's two old guys, they're the only ones in here. Calvary Chapel used nothing but the King James, and they would take Bible verses like this and make songs out of them. Okay? So you learned scripture as you were learning songs, and they were very popular. Everybody used the Maranatha songs, and all the churches were using the Maranatha songs. This was one of them, Micah 6:8. See if you recognize it, Dave. He is showing you, old man, what is good and what the Lord requires of you. To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Okay? Look at it. He is showing you now. Now, old man, but young too, what is good and what the Lord wants from you. To act justly, to love mercy, genuine concern, and to walk humbly with your God. I'll teach you how to sing this now. Okay? All you gotta do is echo me. All right? I'm easy to echo because I carry a tune so well. So this will be easy. Okay? Just echo me. He has shown you, oh man, what the Lord requires of you. But to act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. You did better than I did. Let's do this again. All right? He has shown you, oh man, what the Lord requires of you. But to act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Let's get the worship team up here. Worship team, come up here. Now, as the worship team is coming up here, there are people that come to the cross up here. A lot of them are hurting. A lot of them are hurting. Stay with me. Stay with me. A lot of them are hurting. There's many times when I'm up here praying over someone and I hear them crying. I can feel them crying inside. Some are openly weeping as I'm laying hands on them. There's something going on in their life. I don't even know what it is, but I pray that their spirit would be touched by God's Spirit, whatever it is that's going on in their life. But I know that when someone is in that position and they feel a hand on them, that's mercy. That's mercy. That's genuine concern. And if that person is crying and you're putting your hand over them and you're willing to rest your head on their head, that's genuine mercy. That's genuine mercy. Some of us need to learn how to do that. Awkward for some of us guys. Jay, wouldn't you just love to go up there and give somebody like that? Awkward for a lot of us guys. But that's what Jesus wants. He doesn't just want you sitting in a chair here on Sunday fulfilling your obligation. That's not what the Sabbath is about. The Sabbath is genuine concern for your brothers and sisters. Genuine. Real enough that you give up your Saturdays, Cheryl, Jesse, and Elder, and Amanda, and a whole bunch of you, to carry some furniture up for a mom that doesn't have any furniture with her 3 kids. That's genuine concern. That's faith accompanied by deeds. That's seeing a sister in need and having pity on her. That's mercy.